Call to order a meeting of the Watchung Borough School District Board of Education. This is the budget public hearing meeting. April 24th at 7 p.m. Call to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to a meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Watchung. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the board are open to the public and media, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975, and that the advance notice required therein has been provided. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Watchung at which formal action may be taken. This meeting is being live streamed on the district website, where a recording of the meeting also will be posted. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda at points in the meeting provided for the public to address the board. Recording or photographing, other than for private personal use, requires the consent of parents or guardians whose children may be included in the image. Roll call, please.
Yes. Mrs. Amadeo?
Here.
Mr. Frage?
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Here.
Mrs. Jewett?
Here.
Mrs. Maddox?
Here.
Mrs. Santos?
Here.
Mrs. Agliaro?
Here.
And Mrs. Harvey and Mr. Kraft are absent.
Who I think may be coming.
We'll move on to the presentation of the 2025-2026 budget when you ladies are ready.
Yep, as soon as I can get this slideshow to present.
Yeah.
Here we go, present. Wow. Yes.
Curtis, are you bringing your laptop?
I am. For
Okay.
some reason, it is not stretching to
Move
the,
it.
there we go. Now we're, so, let's see. This time it's my turn here.
I'm not touching yours.
You're not what?
I'm not touching yours.
Oh, so you won't need to, will you? Because you can see from here. Karen and I are back tonight to present the budget for the 2025-2026 school year. This PowerPoint will be up on the district website tonight or tomorrow, and the user-friendly budget will be posted within 48 hours. Those of you that try and take screenshots, it'll be easier. With the support of the board, we remain committed to transparency, to a new perspective on the reality of the fiscal situation of the district. The budget that we are currently working in is just the start, really, of building a financial foundation for the future that will be sustainable. Last year, the resulting recommendations seemed like a huge increase all at once. You know it didn't have to be that way. We've told that story already. And over time, there was an opportunity to spread that increase over several years. That didn't happen. We foreshadowed last year that we knew that we were still going to need to represent a budget above a 2%, and we saved out some of our bank cap in anticipation of that. This year, we also were required to budget our federal funding at between 50 and 70% of what we would usually have on the advice of the state and many other current unknowns. We also received a net 3% cut in state aid. Again, Watchung is not alone in this. So many districts are facing this situation. You can't go on your news feed without reading it, seeing it, knowing what's happening. Many districts also facing the need to use their waivers and cap. They're still having to cut staff. I am just going to lead tonight since we have so many staff in here. We are not cutting staff. We made that decision. However, we aren't able to include many requests in the budget. We've remained cost conscious. We've had to be very creative in every aspect of our operations. What we are presenting to you continues to stabilize the budget, the district finances, and again, allows us, we hope in year 3, to really start using the feedback that we're getting to really delve into our 3 to 5 year strategic plan and build that quality climate, culture, high quality education that I think everybody expects for their students, not just in Watchung, but everywhere. The budget process, thanks Aaron. Tonight's presentation, as you know, represents the budget piece, right? I think that there's sometimes some confusion. These are the outcomes we're working towards. The budget is the financial expression of our goals. It takes those visions, but it turns it into dollars. This isn't a report on our current budget. Tonight, we're actually looking forward and trying to continue to align our resources, our vision, our goals, all of our priorities to reflect, again, that commitment to building a foundation for this whole community of what we expect. This budget, with the input of the board, the endless, wonderful input of the board, represents that shared commitment. This is meaningful. This is based in long-term outcomes for our students and our schools. And we're really excited might not be the right word, but we are really proud to stand here and tell you what we're presenting to you. Budget, vision, Aaron? Thank you. We speak of the district's vision often, especially in the last couple months around our planning processes. The budget we're presenting tonight, again, takes into consideration those discussions for the current time, the next year, and again for that longer range planning. The next slide. Thank you. This slide, we tried to update it. It's a picture from school boards. We have to show you the flow of the budget. So we come together, for those of you that are with us for the first time this evening, early in the fall, all of our teachers, principals, board, the BA, buildings and grounds, we start to talk about the budget. We developed that tentative budget. You know that that was presented March 18th. We also presented that in the community, at the borough, and publicly. That tentative budget goes to our executive county superintendent. He has approved that tentative budget. Over the last month, we have fielded questions, comments, any number of requests for additional information from the community so that you have that understanding, again, of what is being presented in this budget in a way that is meaningful to you. And then tonight, at the end of our presentation, the end of our public comments, there will be a vote from our Board of Education to adopt the budget. And as I said, based on formal approval, that user-friendly budget will get posted within 48 hours. Aaron? Our budget timeline, pretty straightforward. Again, for those of you that haven't been with us, every year we are required to develop a budget calendar with the board. Our budget process starts in the fall. We start with the expense side, so everything is built for February. Then we receive our state aid numbers, and that really helps us finalize the development of the revenue side. Somebody asked this question just minutes before I walked in. I don't think it's something we present, but in fact, there are, I would say more than $700,000 of requests that we were not able to include in the budget. People ask, and you know, we're only presenting the budget. I usually don't talk about what we weren't able to include, but I want to make sure we answer all of your questions, and I do think it's important for you to know that that's a lot of money, right? Those are a lot of requests. Those requests all come with rationales of why they're important to be included in the budget, and yet we were not able to do that this year. Aaron, I think you can go past the second page of the timeline. Right? And that's you. I'm switching with you. Grabbing a drink. Grabbing a drink.
So this is just to explain how we collect the data to build the expenditure side of the budget. Mainly, one of the first things we're going to look at are salary and benefits. Salary and benefits make up a major portion of the budget, and they have to be projected very carefully. As you know, those are contracted costs, so there isn't a way to change them or, reduce them in any way. The rising costs in healthcare, pensions, and other benefits also require careful planning. We have brokers that we use. Our brokers try to do the best they can to keep our healthcare down, our costs down as much as they can, and they, will come with suggestions and ways to try and reduce it, but our overall healthcare this year actually went up 12.9%, which is very high. Next, we look at out-of-district costs, like tuition and transportation. Our special education placements and the transportation to get those students to their schools is significant. We explore our in-district alternatives and route efficiencies to manage costs. So we look at, like, routes. Can we put multiple children on one bus? Can we go with another school? If one bus is going to a special education school, can we, go with another district? So we do try to do that as much as we can. As far as our building maintenance and operating costs, we engage in preventative maintenance, and that reduces long-term expenses and ensures safe facilities. But while we do that, our utilities, our insurance, and our vendor contracts also increase, but we do the best we can. So if we have a vendor that is maybe, their increase is too high, we'll go out and we'll look for something lower if we can get it. Utilities, as you all know, and you're all living in a house, you know what's happening with electricity this year and gas. That's affecting us. We have 2 large buildings. Enrollment trends impact staffing services and the facility needs, and our decisions are data-driven so that we can ensure that our resources align with the projected student numbers. And that's an annual thing that we look at. Next slide, Aaron. Thank you. Oh, do we put that in a different? Do we put that in a different spot? No, okay. I think it's. No, okay, okay,
Yeah.
yep. So to meet these objectives, sustain and expand staffing. So we want to recruit and retain high-quality staff within budget. We want to preserve our programs as much as possible, so we continue to fund for transportation, clubs, and sports. We want to invest in professional learning. We strengthen our teaching through training and collaboration. Enhancing curriculum and instruction, focusing on improving academic outcomes. We want to stabilize operations and services to ensure long-term efficiency in staffing and support. And mainly, think smart and think for the future. Look at where we are now and make intelligent decisions for sustainability. Yep, I can always click nowhere on. Oh, wait, back. Oh, okay. I thought that there was another screen in the middle there. Okay. So, revenue and tax. So, according to the statute, the board can increase the school tax levy by up to 2% every year. You then can take a look at your enrollment, and if you have an added enrollment, you can add money for that, but we did not have an enrollment adjustment this year. The Board of Education can also raise the tax levy to offset extraordinary increases in health insurance. That number is calculated by the state. We don't choose that number, but we are able to use that number. So that offsets some of that 12.9% that I talked about. You have to use your health care adjustment before you can request bank cap. And last year, we used those same adjustments. So we did use health care, we did use bank cap last year. So we're following the same path. Last year. Okay. Per pupil spending. So our per pupil spending, and I think you can see that, we are trending in the right direction. Our goal is to land kind of in the middle of Somerset County. Those schools that I'm showing you there, they're all K-8 schools about our same size. So you can see from 21, 22, 23, and our 24, 25, which is our current year, where we fall. So our goal is to try to stay in the middle. We are a small school, but we don't want to be. We want to just, we'll never be at the top, and we don't ever expect to be, but we want to sit in the middle somewhere. Per pupil spending is an important indicator for school districts because it reflects how much financial investment is being made in each student's education. It serves as a meaningful benchmark to compare if districts are receiving comparable resources. Large disparities in per pupil spending often highlight systemic inequities that can affect student outcomes. So this is the per pupil spending on the sending districts to the high school. So you can see it's the same, but these are just sending districts. So you see where we are. In 24, 25, when we increased the budget last year, you can see our per pupil spending went up. We definitely want to maintain, again, like I said, around the middle, the average of Somerset County. We are trending toward that with last year's increase. Yeah, the format, right. Okay. So the bank cap, so on this screen, you're seeing that the current tax levy right now is $14 million. We have the 2% increase, which is the standard, $287,000, and then we have that health care adjustment that I just explained, and that's going to help us with that practically 13% increase. As Dr. Glazer mentioned, we had a lot of bank cap from years prior. Last year we took some. This year we're requesting another $250,000. We are leaving $257,000 for next year. Every 3 years the bank cap expires, and it'll roll off. It does not go back to the taxpayers. Extra bank cap goes back to the state of New Jersey. So if we don't use it, they'll use it. These funds, and if every year that goes by, so let's say we didn't use that healthcare adjustment this year and we didn't use the bank cap, it will stay for next year and it becomes like a savings account, like your banked capital. That's why it's called banked cap. It's short for bank capital. So it's just letting you use it, but it will roll off and we will start over. So we use next year's bank cap. The following year, we don't have bank cap anymore. Okay. All right, so you can see now, so with the bank cap and with the 2% and with the healthcare adjustment, our budget, our tax levy is projected to go up 5.68%, with the additional tax levy of 3.68, that's over the 2, because of the allowable adjustments, combined with our beginning balance, our state aid, and other local revenues such as bank account interest, rentals, and fees, we have the ability to not only maintain existing programs, but to continue to grow them. Notable on this screen is that we did receive state aid cut of $40,000 from last year, and we are budgeting federal funds between about 50% and 70% of what we got last year. We don't know what we'll receive because we don't find that out until the summer, but we are projecting possibly a decrease. So we're factoring that in to be conservative. The other, that's pretty much, I think that's pretty much on the screen. You see special revenue funds, that's your federal funding, and then your debt service is for the referendum on that screen. You can see the aid. The graph basically shows, and it's a little bit hard to see, but the big purple part of the pie chart, that's our regular instruction, and that's 36%. So that's your salaries, you know, that's everything to do with instructing students. They're all in the purple area.
That doesn't look purple.
Well, it doesn't look purple, look brown. One on the left, the big piece of the pie. It's violet, yeah, it's some kind of, special education and employee benefits account for 21% of the budget, and then the facility operations, transportation, and administration make up the remainder. That's how that pie chart works out. Okay. Significant increases impacting the budget. So right now, as you all may know, we're in a negotiating year for our July 1st, 2025 salaries. They have not been determined yet. So right now, we're estimating, but it is definitely an unknown. As I told you already, the health benefits will increase by 12.9% starting on July 1st of this year. Dr. Glazer is going to talk a little bit about the anticipated and adjusted positions in a minute. Transportation is projected to increase by the Consumer Price Index. So this year is 3.57%. That's actually better than last year's CPI increase. For facilities, we are we're looking at adding an additional 124,000. We have 5 or 6 boilers that need a contract on them. They've hit their time is up and they need the maintenance, and so we obviously don't want to replace a boiler, so we need to buy these contracts. We also have a gym floor that needs to be replaced this year. And lastly, the utility market, which is very volatile at the moment, so we're watching. I'm watching for that. We're watching our our bills monthly and trying to do whatever we can to try to even them out, but it's utilities are tough right now. And that is it for that screen. Okay. Unavoidable. It is. Oh my gosh. Okay, so these are the fixed costs. These are unavoidable expenses that impact the budget. So in other words, there is nothing we can really do. I mentioned contractual salary increases. The next line is your insurance, the health care, our property insurance, cyber insurance, which is a big thing right now, workers' comp, Social Security, and our PERS insurance from our pension plan. Plant maintenance contracts, as I just talked about, the boilers, the grounds, the grounds the grass needs to be cut, the snow needs to be plowed. There is nothing we could do with those. Utilities, gas, electric, water, sewer, the phones, the internet. Those are the costs that we're given. The special education schools out of district, the tuition is the tuition. Transportation, CPI for our regular transportation, and our special education, we go out to bid every year. We try to take the lowest, safest option. And our contracted services, our nurses, our aides, and our substitutes. Right now, both nursing and aides, they're commanding a high per diem rate right now. Technology, our site licenses and educational subscriptions, and that's our curriculum, basically, right there, all the licensing. And lastly, our legal fees. Again, the district does have lawyers, our board attorney, and we do use them when needed. So that is another cost. The next screen. This screen is showing you things we can control a bit. So we have shared services with the borough, with the high school, with nearby districts. You may remember, last year we did a shared service for ESY with Long Hill. We reach out and we do try wherever possible to share something. We'll even share a van. And if somebody needs a van, we'll share it, and we'll go back and forth like that so that you don't have to rent a van to, move something. We have our brokers. We're in funds, our insurance, we're in a pool. In our healthcare, we're in a pool, and in our utilities, we're in a pool. So those are all pool names where we absorb some of the cost when you're with others. We have tiered busing. I did say that already. We rebid our out-of-district transportation every year. We try to utilize our paraprofessionals as efficiently as possible. They are from outside companies, but right now, that is still the better choice given the budget. We negotiate with vendors wherever possible. Like literally, the business office will call someone and tell them the price is too high, and what could they do for us? We're a small school. We've done that many times. Sometimes we're successful. Co-op purchasing, we purchase from Somerset County's ESC, Hunterdon County ESC, the New Jersey ESC. We just recently want to purchase something, and we found that they had a better price on Bergen County ESC, so I've reached out to see if we could join. Anywhere we can get a cheaper price, we're always looking. And then again, with our contracted services, if the prices go up, I don't always look at the dollar. A lot of times I'll look at the percentage increase. As soon as it increases to something, above what seems right, we'll change. We'll change whenever possible. And that is it for that screen.
Breathe. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Come on. We know it's better. Although I can't find what I'm looking. You do what? Well, yes, but I was going to say something. So we spend a lot of time talking about investing in the schools and why investing in the schools is important and what the priorities are that support student learning. And again, this is our budget presentation, not our performance presentation. So I do want to try a little bit to help you understand. There is nobody in here that thinks just putting more money into the schools, just willy-nilly, is going to give us very good results. Nobody believes that. You have to spend money effectively, not necessarily more, right? Even more isn't a guarantee. But the truth is, if you have your inputs, right? Karen told you about per pupil spending, teacher salaries, smaller class sizes. We've been looking at the goals for the last 12 years. They've been pretty much the same, geared around these areas, right? Teacher salaries, small class sizes, those things are not going to determine outcomes. Those things on their own don't increase test scores, to quote many. But the important thing is that money that's spent well, money that is targeted, spent on what the district, what the community chooses to spend it on, spend their time on, research supports almost every single time, that improves outcome. Beyond that, it requires, several years of sustained spending. If you want to improve student outcomes, and I know you've heard me say it over and over, a huge body of research supports that those outcomes, test scores, graduation, college attendance, student performance, right? Those things, again, sustained, not one and done, not start and stop, not we are not going to go above the 2% cap. So what are we able? Karen told you all the things we can't control. What are the things we can control? The low-hanging fruit, that's how we have goals on paper year over year. And we need that action, right? When we talk about investing, when we talk about what it is that's going to improve those outcomes, again, as you just heard from Karen through enough slides she couldn't breathe, it's the operational spending, the teachers, the support staff, the materials, the resources. If we look at that, right, just that, where we're spending our time, where we're proposing to spend our money, the truth is, small amount out of our total budget. It is unlikely that test scores or other outcomes that I think that Watchung Borough has come to expect are going to happen if we only continue to keep up with the rising costs of non-academic services and supports. There has to be more. So let's talk about what that more might be. This is a list, kind of a random list if you want to know the truth, but I built it based on what we are proposing in the budget, that we believe are priorities to meet goals. Instructional leadership. You might automatically think of me or the principals, Mrs. Datota, these people. These are your instructional leaders. You're sitting now, but you lead where you stand. If you're standing in your classroom, if you're standing on the stage with the band, if you're standing in the special ed resource room, that's where instructional leadership starts. Just the fact that you're here makes this priority number one, not random. When we talk about strategic staffing enhancements, I think we talked about it the first meeting. We had 12 requests for staffing, all with rationales, all important. What we had to prioritize are those that are going to expand our current program, those that are going to allow us to build in the ways that, again, this community has communicated that they want to build. I'm so sorry. If I don't take a drink, I'm going to die. Sorry, I've been dehydrated. Thanks. I just really needed a drink. Sadly, thirsty. When we look at, right, these staffing enhancements, and we'll do that on the next slide, you're going to see that we have a .4 custodian there. And you might say, how is that driving student success? Why isn't that on a different slide or a Karen slide? Because that .4 custodian, making that person full-time, helps us reduce overtime, helps us support our operational efficiency, helps us when we need a child on the playground needing help, or a teacher in the faculty room needing help. We didn't have enough of that. We're paying overtime, there's no need. Well, that person becomes instructionally significant. Erin, if you could just go back a slide. I know I was talking about that position. But beyond that, right, you have heard us speak a lot about curriculum development and professional learning. You've heard us speak about finding up-to-date resources and materials, teacher training to improve their instructional practice, to improve their efficacy, which will improve outcomes. It ties back to those academic standards. It ties back to our strategic planning. It is important. It's not just something extra. Professional development keeps teachers on current, relevant best practices and instructional strategies. Again, helps us build staff capacity for differentiated instruction, our new literacy, for social emotional learning. It's part of our goals. But again, if you want to see academic achievement, if you want to see equity among students, professional development, investing in our teachers and in those outcomes for students, that's where you're going to see it. Curriculum resources, again, we've talked a lot about that, updating our materials aligned to standards, making sure that every child has access to diverse texts, to hands-on materials, to authentic real-world learning, experiential learning, that we're supporting the curriculum updates when they come out, and supporting the staff in internalizing those updates in their instruction, personalizing our learning tools. Maybe that's one-to-one initiatives. Maybe it's strategies in the classroom with compacting curriculum or scaffolding our instruction. It's about creating the learning environment, giving our staff at every level what they need, again, across grade levels, across subjects, between buildings, between content areas. What is necessary for our students to be prepared for future success? And yes, that includes our academic intervention and counseling and mental health services. It talks about learning barriers. There is not one child in a classroom. There are 15 kids. You can't start teaching on page 1 of the book and expect that you're meeting those learning styles. That's why we have to invest in all of this. We've spent a lot of time through the strategic planning process talking about enrichment and extracurricular programs and what's available. There's actually, we found out, kind of a lot more available than we thought, but it's about helping every child be successful. Maybe that's not in the classroom. Maybe that's in the art room with a different content. Maybe that's athletics. Maybe it's student council. We had a large group of students come and participate in the strategic planning process, and then schedule a follow-up meeting with their teacher, the principal, and myself, and presented their own goals, their own objectives, their own timeline. What more do we need to hear? In my opinion. So all of the things that you are going to hear us propose and present are in support of this. Yes, class size, maybe, but the important thing about that isn't that you have 12 or 15 or 18, it's that it's manageable, that the workload is manageable so that teachers can focus on instruction. Done, right? So these are the budget priorities that are going to, I hope, help you understand where we are making our recommendations. Aaron, and I'm sorry, grabbing another drink. At least I'm still standing. That's the important. So, what do we got? So these, out of those 12 positions, are the ones that we are able to, thanks, that we are and have been able to recommend for next year's budget. Again, just to repeat, it is not everything that we would want, right? But as I talk, I hope that the priorities really reflect that thoughtful discussion, that give and take that got us here. Because believe me, to get to this number from 12 was not a one-time, couple-minute conversation. So, supervisor of instruction. A lot of miscommunication about this one. I think I've gotten more questions about this than actually the budget numbers, which I found really interesting. This emerged as a priority, honestly. It's been a priority in the district. It's been an ask, just so you know. I think pretty much every year it looks like since 2013. I see you shaking your head, yes, yes. It has not made it to the table. But during the strategic planning process, it became not just clear, right? Remember, we have students, we have teachers, we have administrators, we have parents, we had our community members, we have our mayor and council president and other council people participating in this process. And the idea that we could add a person, multiple responsibilities, and that title, by the way, not very creative, not ours, came from the county executive's office because that is an administrative title that does not add to our administrative ratio, meaning it doesn't cap us. We are able to move ahead with that title without it unbalancing, I guess, I should say it that way, unbalancing our administration. So I am going to work my way down the list a little bit at a time. There is some things to cover and things to talk about. Phyllis, welcome back. You, while you were gone, and I know you missed a lot about the budget and the development and the committees, but thank you for taking the time to write your questions. Phyllis also asked that her questions be answered at the meeting in public so the community could also understand what she's asking. So happy to honor you with that tonight. And I think, believe it or not, the questions you asked are going to answer not just for you, but for the community, why it rose to a priority, not just for 13 years being on the table, but through strategic planning, right? So the supervisor of instruction, instructional supervision. The idea behind it is a continuous process, ongoing, right? Not just in the summer or on a PD day or after school, right? Collaborative, works with everybody, all of our educators in the district, with the goal of improving instruction. They work to help teachers improve learning, advance learning in our schools, the quality of education. And to answer your first question, first and foremost, the supervisor instruction does not assume responsibility for curriculum writing. That is, and has always been, first, a local task, but it remains that collaborative process, right, with our teachers. When you look at a curriculum writing team, it's representative of the grade levels. It's representative of special education, of multilingual learning instruction. And, you know, that's another reason Ms. Detoda, our special services director, is responsible for our multilingual instruction and bilingual students. That is not her area. This frees her up to do what she is here to do, and this person can take that focus as an example, in addition to the curriculum. This person, again, provides leadership, standing in a different place maybe, but provides that leadership to support all of us, me, principals, teachers, in those effective learning practices that we just talked about were so important, including instructional strategies, technology integration. This person, yes, will be helping to update, helping to implement pre-K to 8 curriculum. Yes, making sure it aligns with the district expectations, with the standards, right? Maybe helping with the assessments so we have those multiple measures. The bottom line of the role, though, really is about helping our teachers, because let's be honest, we just keep piling, principals, teachers, whoever it is, we just keep putting more and more things on the plate. They have platters out here, full platters. Nothing ever gets taken off, right? So, you know, we say to them, oh, we want to make every child's experience challenging. We want to set high expectations for student achievement. We want to make sure every child succeeds. We know we can accomplish this, differentiation, scaffolding, again, compacting the curriculum, problem-based learning, that classroom environment, right? A place where our students, again, demonstrated at the last strategic plan meeting, have a voice and a choice, that we are creating a culture that values effort. Our students can do hard things. They show us it all the time, right? Deepening that understanding, applying the knowledge, promoting all of those critical thinking skills that we know will be important to their future, but have to be taught. On top of making sure they're prepped for their 5 or 6 periods of students and social emotional learning and lunch duty, and making sure that the entire school, if they want to, can get to the Somerset Patriots game and celebrate, and have the Glee Club perform as is tradition before Mrs. Riley retires. And just so you all know, if you missed it tonight, May 22nd board meeting, they'll be performing right here. Nobody misses out. But the point of this, right, the goal is to make sure that the learning is relevant, that it's meaningful, right? That it is interesting, that all of that is creating engagement with the content. And we need to make sure that our teachers have the time and the tools and the flexibility to respond to those different learning styles. I have 21 years of teaching. I would like to think I could walk into a classroom, take it over, make a meaningful lesson, right? If you said to me, and I've done plenty of problem-based learning units, I've done plenty of rubrics and assessments. If you said to me, I just interested if you could take this, it's part of your regular curriculum. We're already talking about, I've seen so many observations in the last month. Oh my God, shout one out, somebody, help. Shadows, that will be a challenge. This is like an improv game. So if you said to me, I would like a problem-based learning unit on shadows that is a performance assessment that gives our students an opportunity to demonstrate their learning, right, in a variety of ways. I will guarantee you, I can stand there, I can think, okay, what do we want our students to know and learn and be able to do? And how will they demonstrate that they have learned it, right? That they know it and are able to do it. And honestly, you challenge me. But if you think I couldn't make that cross-content, authentic problem-based learning, I've already got a flashlight in my head, making shadows, figuring out the phases of the moon in science, and if that's a shadow, is an eclipse a shadow? Is the absence of light and the giving of light a shadow? And maybe we'll read Peter Pan, and maybe, right? Not a plant either, by the way. Good for you. But the idea behind this, you aren't going to do that on your own or without direction. And our principals and directors and me and our teacher leaders, even when they're meeting by department and planning units and lessons, we need direction, all of us. And this person, I believe, is able to make sure that our teachers have the tools, to make sure that we all really have a common idea of what mastery looks like. We all know what the tasks are, right? We all know that those frameworks are accessible. I can confidently say we have a wonderful instructional staff. They're committed to excellence. During their faculty meetings and lunch, we've had our consultants in working, planning already for this year, for next year. I can tell you, you don't look tired, but I know you're tired. You're tired. Everybody's tired. In a small district like this, everybody needs support. Professional learning, job embedded, coaching, support with methodology, somebody to come in and model, somebody to give feedback when it's not an observation or an evaluation, somebody to say, this is what we expect for students. How can we collectively make this happen? And our staff also deserves the opportunity to do this with each other on a professional development day, to come up with a program that they demonstrate, that they share with their colleagues. But again, it has to be coordinated. So this instructional supervisor of instruction, not just curriculum, right? Not just, that. Facilitating, coordinating professional learning, that coaching, helping us. There are not enough of us to do that observation and evaluation process. that does give us, believe it or not, a little pressure lever at that level. Program review. I've been here a year and a half. We've talked about world language. We've talked about multilingual learners. We've talked about gifted and talented. We've talked about STEAM, right? All of these things. Somebody to coordinate that program review, to do a formal assessment with the staff, with the parents, with the students, so we know that we're providing the very best that we can. And somebody who's going to look at our testing, all of it, not just NJSLA, who's going to take that data, work with our teams when they're looking at data, help make the best decisions for kids. And that might be in the IRNS meeting, and if you don't know what that is, that's when a student is struggling. It could be struggling in any area. We pull a team together. We look at what strategies we could try, things that we need to do differently. We try that for 6 weeks. We come back. This worked, this didn't work. What else should we try? Right? All of these things that people are so stretched. So this person, in addition to that, since you asked, yes, we'll be applying for and managing our federal, state, and local grants. We have all kinds of programs and initiatives. The question was, the Director of Special Services also used to write grants. She still does. Mrs. Datota writes grants. She completes our extraordinary aid reimbursements. And I wish she was here tonight. She is not. But I will tell you that this year, just in 1 year, she is responsible for more than $700,000 in funds being returned to the district this year, on top of 504 coordinator, HIB coordinator, multi-language learning coordinator, and bilingual coordinator. You get where I'm going. We can't just keep piling hats on people's heads. The time has come. So, and I know we'll have more questions when we're done, but I promised, like I said, that I would answer that, and I want to keep going. So, world language. Again, been on the table through 2 budget cycles with me. I have no idea how many before that. This position was proposed as a full-time Spanish teacher. This is for Valley View. We have an increasing interest in Spanish, but our French enrollment at the middle school has been declining. That creates huge scheduling challenges and big class sizes in Spanish. If the trends indicate, right, a need to restructure our language offerings, to staff in a different way so that we are providing that equitable learning that we are saying is so important, this recommendation, again, rose to the top. Our current Spanish class sizes are too large to provide optimal learning. There's the decline in enrollment, so we have underutilized resources. Our multi-learner, language learner support is being stretched, again, challenged, right? At Bayberry, we're having a growing population. There needs to be an increased attention, not just to meet our legal requirements, but, hello, our educational requirements, right? So the idea is hiring a full-time Spanish teacher for next year, allowing for the reallocation of our current staff, our current French teacher who's also ESL certified. As students finish their French instruction, we wouldn't stop, right? We would keep moving forward and make sure all those students that are in French are able to be prepared to continue in high school if they so choose. We'll also work with our multilingual learners. the current ESL teacher then, who is going between two schools, right? So we lose a period of instruction, both sides, would be at Bayberry to support that population, the multilingual learning population, but it also helps to optimize our Spanish instruction. An additional Spanish teacher lets us adequately support the increased demand, bless you,
Bless you.
here at the middle school, helps us maintain those manageable class sizes, helps us make sure that we are able to provide quality instruction. The Bayberry Spanish teacher, instead of having to have a split schedule, a different thing every day, will be able to be full-time, better able to support that instruction, and for us, allow as part of that program review, right? How are we looking at language development at the elementary? It was brought in one way. I think that the idea is different. This allows us to really delve into that with that program review. Recommending this position addresses the scheduling, the class sizes. It lets us strategically use our staff, our expertise, right? And it lets us, again, maintain that student choice. We want to make sure that our student preferences remain, right, a focus. You had asked for the job description. This is a teaching position, so the job description is teacher, but I will give you the rationale that was provided for the position for you to be able to look at and get whatever additional questions you may have had answered. Just to keep moving, we've talked about restoring the basic skills position, right? Last year I was not able to do it. This year we were not able to do it full-time. We spent, if you had any idea how long we spent figuring, well, if this person has this free period and this person has this free period, and if we could just move this 15 minutes and take, oh my goodness. I mean, the amount of time we put in, we probably could have done 10 basic skills classes. So we are recommending restoring half-time this year with the expectation that it becomes recommended full-time next year. And again, some of you, I see are new faces. Just so you're aware, basic skills is targeted instruction, right? It's academic support, it's early intervention, it's making sure our students get the foundational instruction or the remedial instruction that they need to be able to succeed, firstly in math and English language arts, but obviously as an extension, all of their other content. I already talked about the custodian. We committed to the next piece last year. We are using some of those bank cap funds as big one-time purchases. We are updating our K-8 math curriculum and the associated professional learning with that. We have had teams of teachers reviewing materials, working with consultants to see how the standards match up, unpacking our current curriculum and working to write new curriculum. This, I hope, will be the beginning of finally, equipping our educators to deliver not just math instruction, engaging instruction in the content. You know, Phyllis, you had asked me about rigor. Everything I've talked about tonight is rigor. I think that there is a misunderstanding that rigor is more work. It's harder or more homework. Rigor is that deeper understanding. It is that opportunity for kids who master a skill to go deeper in that skill. That's what we're hoping for. our K-4 ELA curriculum, also and associated professional learning. Same process, teams of teachers reviewing, learning what it is that science of learning, science of reading, science of writing offers to learning. How are we going to build strong readers, strong writers from the start, right? How are we going to make sure that our students are able to read and write across the curriculum, right? You know, the resources are great. That $431,350 is the cost of that staff and those resources. Not a insignificant hit. However, in the scheme of things, again, so many things that we are not able to do. I am just along these lines, just to make sure I'm answering every other question. I did have 2 other questions. Maybe I have them on my computer. Oh, I'm so sorry if it's your question. I think it got buried in here. I apologize. Ask it again. If I missed it, and I tried to cover it all, but if I missed it, please ask again, because I don't see it just sitting right here. It's moved? I don't think it moved. Did it go? Karen? I think we're still. No? Nope. So, this is also a big topic. More misunderstanding. We did not cut baseball. We did not cut softball. Those coaches, those buses, that transportation, those uniforms are remaining. They are still there this year. They are maintained next year. It is our hoped-for outcome, right, with all of these 6th graders moving up to be able to safely field all of our teams. There was no, again, despite what I've been told and asked, no cut to clubs at Bayberry or Valley View, actually an increase. And I want to say, because I don't think people realize this when we're talking about the budget, we have an amazing PTO, an amazing educational foundation. If you stay for the second part of our meeting, you're going to see, just for Valley View, we haven't even put Bayberry's on yet, the list of donations from the PTO. Those are parents that also invest in the schools. Yes, their children are in the schools, but when you see the amount of money that they are raising, WEF, PTO, CPAG, to supplement what we're doing, it's amazing. And again, on top of all of these asks. So I feel like it was just, while we're sitting here in clubs that are maintained, nothing cut, and so very grateful for the generous contributions of all of our communities. I will also say, when we weren't able to field that 6th grade team, the rec, Warren and Watchung Rec stepped up. They've created a team from the sending districts and the high school. So all of those 8th graders and 9th graders were also able to play. Nobody didn't not get to play. So also the rec stepping up. Just my last, very last slide, like ping the duck. Just a reminder, right? The tax levy, that 2%, is only $287,000 for, right? If we only do the 2%, think of all of the things that we've already lost in this budget. What was needed to get what you're seeing presented tonight, an additional $528,000, give or take. We are taking advantage of the healthcare waiver to offset that. We are using the additional $250,000 in bank cap to offset that. We are keeping $257,000 about in bank cap in reserve for next year. Forewarned. go, babe.
Back to numbers. So this presentation, this will be available online, in a day or so, so you can take a look at it. But this is just basically showing you all the revenues and the increase. So you can see that we've asked for the 5.6% local tax levy increase, but you can also see how other revenue items will be decreasing this year, like the interest, like our state aid, and then in Fund 20, the federal aid and other sources. So we're decreasing all of those items, but that's causing some of the need for the increase in the tax levy. As you know, we don't receive any, we have no other funding. So if it's not the state, it's the federal government, or it's the local taxpayers. That's all we have. But you can take a look at that. The next slide is the same thing on the expenses. So this is a list of the expenses and where everything has been allocated. But Aaron, could you go to the next slide? And then this slide, I have two of them. This is showing you the comparable from last year. So where certain things are going up, you see like in basic skills, remedial instruction is going up. Again, because Dr. Glazer just explained, we are adding a staff member to that. At a district tuition, we are anticipating a decrease next year, but then an increase in our own special education. So it offsets that way. Instructional supervision, again, you're seeing an increase, but that's also because of the staff that Dr. Glazer just explained. I don't think there's anything else on there. And then the next screen, please. So same thing here. General administration, it looks like it's down. It's a little bit odd because things like copiers and internet costs and phone costs are in administrative lines. So it does look, if we can negotiate a better copier lease or something like that, you'll see that change in there, but it's a little bit, it's bringing that down there. Technology is up. Maintenance and operations, as I explained to you about the boilers, the gym floor, those are going up. The benefits up, you see 11.6%, although I said 12.9, but that's offset by employee contributions. So that comes down a little bit. Federal and state, looking at a 50% reduction. And then the debt repayment that comes from the state support of it is down a bit too. That is pretty much it. But you can take a look at that, in more depth. The user-friendly budget will be posted. That does all 400 lines. So. Yeah. The next screen. So this is the tax levy screen. So the bottom line is that with the 5.68% increase, with the referendum, which is the only way really to look at it, the annual taxes on an average assessed house would go up by $554 a year, which is like $46 a month. That's if you own the average home. I did put the calculation there on the bottom so you could figure out what your increase, the school impact is on your home by doing, that multiplier right there. So if your house is worth $1 million, it's $592. If it's $400,000, it's $237. So that just basically tells you can see the ratables increased in this town, and the homes increased on average by $80,000 this year. So that's really basically math, but that would be the impact of our school tax increase, including the referendum. Yes, well, and that's true. I mean, the tax impact screens, they are a little bit difficult, but this is the second half of this year and the first half of next. So it's always rolling. Next screen, and that is it. So there's nothing left on this presentation. So thank you. If you have any questions, that's my email. If you have any questions about the numbers, if you have any questions about curriculum, and thank you.
Probably board questions before we.
Does anyone from the board have questions for these ladies? No. Okay. Move on to the, oh, sorry.
I do, yeah.
Go ahead.
Dr. Glazer, are there grants that get missed because we don't have a dedicated person working on this?
Well, of course, but even if you had it, this person is not, the same way Mrs. Dakota is not dedicated to grants. It's one piece of the position. Just to give you an idea, last week, it was only last week, I wrote a grant to the Young Arts Association to do a residency when our outdoor learning commons is open, to try and do a experiential program with nature and art and bring some plantings and science. I think we all share in that. I will say, of course, right? We do. We're this, though, being part of a specific part of a job description and expectation, I absolutely think makes that less likely.
The basic skills teacher seems so important. Can you explain why we are choosing to do 0.5 of the basic skills teacher rather than full-time basic skills this year and perhaps adding the world language teacher next year or making some other decision?
So the Spanish is a big implication right now, right? We have big class sizes, do not have the enrollment in French. We've been, for 2 years now, tried to be creative, right, within the schedule to create, flex periods and other opportunities to fill those gaps, but it hasn't changed. That trend hasn't changed. And basic skills is hugely important. I am not underselling it, but this is what I'm going to say. One person, K to 4, supported by a reading specialist, right? Not as much impact, again, as if we can help teachers who really need a different strategy, a different tool in their tool belt to teach in a different way to help a child be successful. And yes, we have basic skills, right? To be able to work in small groups, to be able to work on those core content skills with the goal of that grade level achievement. It is huge. It needs to work in concert with something else. And when we're prioritizing, and it, don't get me wrong, it is huge. We felt that if we could get the half in and only have to supplement those other periods half the day, that was better than waiting another year, right? Not having anything, not being able to grow, right, to a full-time, but also providing something meaningful. I'm really excited, the pool, because we posted it anticipated. Our positions are anticipated until the budget, and then we can, interview. I am amazed at the number of people that are interested, right? We can't get a lunch aid, little pair up. I'm thrilled. So I think that the power of starting, the power of utilizing the staff that we have and the expertise we have to regrow. Let's be honest, we are regrowing this program. To regrow this program will be stronger than if we continued to have a jigsaw schedule over here, not meeting all the needs of the multi-language learning students, right?
And I just want to ask, to clarify, so if we only used the 2% tax levy, we would have to cut $500,000 from our current budget, from our
500
current
was
expenses.
580 something?
580.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, I don't think he already took the, maybe I have it still, I can tell you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's see, oops, I lost it. 528.
Yeah. Thank you.
And again, we had 700,000 additional requests on top of that.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No? All right, thank you.
Oh, okay. No, it's, fine. I just, you thought you were.
Okay, so we can move on to public comments on the 2025-2026 budget. We welcome input from the public. There are 3 times during the meeting when the public is invited to speak. The first opportunity to comment on the 2025-2026 budget is now. The second opportunity for public comment will be on agenda items only. This will follow the committee reports. The third opportunity for public comment is towards the end of the meeting. Total time allotted for public comment is 30 minutes. Before you make your comment, please state your name and municipality of residence. In the event that it appears that the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 30 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 3 minutes duration. Our public forums are not structured as a question and answer session, but rather are offered as opportunities to share input with the board. In instances where the board feels a response is needed, the presiding officer or superintendent will address the comment. We won't be addressing any of the comments until after everyone has had a chance to speak. New Jersey statutes do not permit the board to discuss personnel or hiring in public session. Names of students should not be used. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of legal rights of those affected and identified in their comments, and be aware that they are personally, legally responsible with potential liability for comments that they make to the board. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. And there's a sheet to sign in at the podium, if anybody. No?
No comments?
Hello, everybody. Rich Seziano, a resident of Watchung for about 12 years, a parent of a first grader, member of the PTO, child of 2 educators. My dad was actually my first computer science teacher. I think the first thing that I want to say is kudos to the board and the administration for providing strong leadership and having to make hard decisions that I know that you're getting pushback from members of the community, members of the council, etc. It's not an easy thing to make decisions that you know are going to put you sort of right in the middle of criticism, so I appreciate that and know that it's not an easy thing to do. I'd also like to say, just to add it, Dr. Laser, I very much second a lot of what you said towards the end there, and appreciate you putting forth such a strong rationale and sort of giving a voice to why the additional positions and improvements to the textbooks and something else I don't remember are important, and not
But they're important.
just because we're doing them, and why it's important to add these additional faculty members. I'm going to try to stay positive, though now he dropped something, so maybe I should know. I'm kidding. My family and I came to Watchung, I said this last year, for a few reasons, but one of them was because of the education and the sort of reputation of the education system here, and really had no qualms about understanding that sometimes you have to pay for those things, and that means tax increases, that means tax increases. So again, fixing sort of some of the ills of the past boards that didn't put these increases in front when they were needed. I give you guys props for that. And I also want to just say that I appreciate that there's a plan and stability now. The strategic planning exercise was interesting, but it was also valuable. I personally took part in all 3 sessions. I know other members of the community did. And it is frustrating to me to see across different forums this sort of implication that there's no plan, we just want to throw money at this problem, and testing is bad, performance is bad, when people aren't participating and people aren't offering solutions. The performance improvements and the grade improvements and the testing improvements are going to be trailing indicators, not leading indicators, and the commitment to continuous investment in our students. My child is going to be a student here for another seven years, and I want to see this continuous investment. So I appreciate, I know it's not an easy decision, and most importantly, it enables the more important people in here to do their job, so thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, Paulina Miklish, 30 Valley Drive. I have twins who are 5 years old. I always like to tell people they were accidental. We didn't plan on having twins. They're awesome, boy, girl, super fun, and they're really smart. My son, I have, like I said, boy, girl. So my son was recently diagnosed with ADHD, sensory processing disorder, and also has had a severe stutter for the last couple of years. It's been really challenging for my family from the angle of we have no solutions for something like a stutter. If you're familiar with that disease, it comes and goes, and it can be really hard on a family. And we've been paying out of pocket for specialists, including weekly stutter specialist visits, and they will be entering Bayberry in September. So hopefully the teachers will get to meet them and love them. But I just wanted to bring that kind of personal aspect to this because there's budget line items, statistics, but when you get to know your local neighbors and the people who are in your community, it's really different. So if you guys would entertain me for just a second, I'm going to let you hear Roman's voice. So that was last night, and that was him trying to tell me about a new toy that he just got. So yeah, I wanted to just share that personal angle. It's something that's happening in my home, and Bayberry teachers will get to know him really soon. I've also thought about our community and how he's really not that unique, because I think that there are kids all across Watchung who have something that they're dealing with that our teachers are going to be helping them with in the classroom, whether it's something like a stutter or needing extra needs, or maybe they're super, super smart and actually want more time. And I think you mentioned more depth into a specific subject because they might be just awesome at stuff and need more help. I've also heard that Bayberry has a huge kindergarten class. I'm not sure what the kindergarten class sizes are typically like, but just looking at the numbers, it looks quite large. So thinking about class sizes was something that I wanted to come in and just learn more about. Maybe you guys can address that later. This town can do great things. I think that our school systems can, or this school system can be fantastic if we can all just come together. And if that means $46 a month, I wish I could cover all the people on my street if that means that it would help us get to where we need to be. So let's improve our community and give our kids a chance if it means that we can help them with all of the things that you listed out today. They all seemed actually incredibly valuable and not at all frivolous, if there's anyone wondering about whether they're really needed or not. So thanks for hearing my voice, and thank you for hearing Roman's voice today, and hopefully, like I said, you'll get to meet him pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Molly Hartman Lustig, 140 Oak Ridge Lane. You guys know I like to be prepared, and my phone's dead, so I'm not. So we're gonna wing it. First of all, thank you for taking the feedback that this community gave to you. Right, the strategic planning meetings. I saw some of those things up on that board as top priorities. Number one, whatever we're gonna call them, curriculum coordinator, instruction coordinator, whatever it is. Yes, thank you. We need it. I also saw the update for the math program. My son is in 2nd grade. They're using Go Math. It was discontinued in 2021. Not okay, okay? Today, I had the absolute privilege of bringing my kids to my office, and they got to see the inner workings of a law office, and the only reason, like major reason why I am a professional today and I can show my kids that is because of this school district, which I matriculated from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. So, and Mrs. Jouett, I had a lot to say about the old days, right, where we didn't need test scores and we didn't need any of these rubrics because we just knew our students were prepared, right? They were excelling when they got to the high school. They were a step above. We just knew it. And it was because our teachers had all the resources they want. You remember, we wanted for nothing. And nice things cost money. So be it. I'm sorry, I see these numbers, $800,000 to $900,000 average home prices. We're talking about $500 a year. Like, stop complaining, okay? It's $500 a household. Like Ms. Miklush said, I wish I had more. We're all struggling in this economy. I wish I had more to give because it's that important. I had a lot more to say, but I think I've said it. And I really just, please support this budget. We need it. We need more. The max, you can go. I'll speak for my mom who couldn't come today. She's a lifelong resident of Watchung. She says, I'm an old person in this town and I want my taxes raised as high as possible because I want my grandchildren to have the same education that my kids did. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Board and everyone sitting out with us. My name is Celade Munoz, municipality in the borough of Watchung. I'm not sure if this is where I should speak or at the end, but I'm going to give it a go. Since we're speaking about budget, I think this all ties in, and I just ask you to bear with me. I'm also a twin mom, kindergarten, boy-girl, so new to the district, and we moved here with the intention of having our kids in a supportive district where they can thrive. So a little background, I'm a licensed registered nurse with over a decade of experience protecting some of the most medically complex children in New Jersey, both clinically and in a school setting. I've served on a hospital falls committee. I've trained nurses statewide and been contracted by out-of-district placements to lead compliance and safety documentation efforts. In addition to my clinical background, I've also worked at the executive level within globally recognized financial and insurance firms. I've had the fortune of having a front row seat to how large institutions manage liability, assess risk, and protect their reputations, especially under pressure. So I come with a very special skill set for over 20 years, and maybe closer to 30, but who's counting? That experience matters here today because I've seen some red flags and in this district's safety systems. And when I saw those red flags, I knew exactly what was at stake, and it is our children. I raised concerns, I flagged gaps, I offered solutions free of charge. I even advised Dr. Glazer directly about the absence of a head injury protocol and the urgent need to implement that. Whether that advice was acted on, I don't know. I'm sure we'll have some talks and we'll figure that out. But what I do know is this: by the time the system should have acted, my son had already been hurt. But this isn't about credentials. It's about the most important title that I hold, and it's mother. I'm standing here tonight because this district, under the current administration, has failed my son, Mateo. And under that same administration, it will continue to fail others. Mateo is 7 years old, weighing just, sorry, I forgot this part. Mateo is 7 years old. He was born weighing just 1 pound, the same size as this doll, same size and weight. Sorry, that always gets me, that little doll. Every time it comes out, like something rattles in me. But same size as that doll being passed around you. Mateo has defied every odd. He has arrived in this district walking, talking, reading, engaging in multiple languages, bright, resilient, eager to learn. And he also has complex medical needs. I don't lead with that because that doesn't define who he is. He's so much more than his needs. But that still is a part of our life. His body moves differently. His brain is far more fragile than most children his age. But what he needs to thrive isn't extraordinary. It's clearly outlined in his IEP. I've lost endless hours of sleep coming through this and fine needling it and documenting. And it's clearly outlined in his IEP and medical documentation. On February 10th, I warned this administration on record, if you put this child on stairs unsupported, he will go flying head first. And 18 school days later, that is exactly what happened. I'm not omniscient. I can spot these safety issues. Despite multiple emergency meeting requests, documented medical risks, and repeated warnings from staff internally who knew him best, each one was met with delay, dismissal, and outright disregard. There were no less than 7 warnings between my husband and I and attempts to get an emergency meeting to prevent this fall. This is what I'm trained to do. I'm trying to, I've helped others, I'm trying to help my son. And on March 6th, my son fell head first down a school staircase. Why? Because the district failed to assign the trained one-to-one aid his IEP clearly requires. Because repeated documented warnings from me, his doctors, from his teachers were ignored. The aid that was assigned to Mateo had already been reported, unbeknownst to me.
Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you could not mention personnel, we're not allowed to discuss them. So if you could just
Okay.
just rephrase it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the assignment to Mateo had already been reported to administration by staff for sleeping on duty, smelling of marijuana, being untrained in basic safety protocols, specifically about their ability to safely assist Mateo.
All right,
on
we're
stairs.
still, you're sorry. I mean to interrupt you again. You're still talking about personnel,
Okay.
which we're not allowed to discuss in
So-
public.
Okay. Someone chose to keep someone in place, even after alarms had been raised. Persons within had tried to speak up. I, not personnel, had been speaking up. His doctors had spoken up with written letters that are documented, and they were ignored. People knew that he was neurologically vulnerable. People knew a fall could mean permanent damage to my son. This risk wasn't a risk that slipped through the cracks. It was flagged clearly, repeatedly, and it was chose to be ignored. He hit his head. He was hospitalized. This is what happens when IEPs are treated like suggestions and when administration silences staff instead of empowering them, when liability takes priority over student safety. And that breakdown didn't stop because this week, on Monday, April 21st, Mateo's first full day back, in less than an hour, his head hit the floor again. Apparently, the first incident wasn't enough impetus to protect him. So let's be clear. When administration, that's not staff, correct? I'm not directing, okay. When administration delays action, ignores risk, fails to collaborate, students get hurt, and districts pay the price. So this isn't just a safety issue. It's an administrative failure with long-term legal and financial consequences. It's a budget problem because the cost of legal liability for something, what's the cost of legal liability for something that should have never happened? Prevention costs less than litigation. Transparency costs less than damage control. And competent leadership always costs less than cleaning up after the wrong one, especially when leadership is costing you $130,000 a year. To ignore medical documentation, dismiss staff warnings, and gamble with student safety. So since we're talking salaries tonight, that is important. I'll remind you all, as a nurse, my 2 primary responsibilities are simple. It's to keep people alive and to document, and then do some more documenting. So every ignored warning, every delay, every deflection, every thinly veiled effort at retaliation, I have it in writing, on record, time-stamped. We, my husband and I, were forced to go from proactive to reactive because one person refused to answer emails, to return calls, or communicate. That silence cost us dearly. It's cost my son dearly. And while I've chosen not to speak on my husband's credentials here tonight, I will say this. We have the experience, we have the network, and we have the reach to take this as far as it needs to go. So what will it take for this district to act? How many head injuries does any child have to survive? Never mind a medically fragile one, before accountability becomes non-negotiable. A lawsuit? A funeral? Because we're not going to wait for a third incident. So I'll ask you plainly, do you value administrative protection or student safety? Because if you choose protection over my child's safety, this district will pay, on paper, in court, and in public. My life's work has been protecting others. Today, those others are my children and the children entrusted to this district's care. You guys won't protect him, we will. We will file, we will publish, we will speak everywhere. And I promise you, we will stop at nothing. And the next time any district thinks it can quietly bury a disabled child's trauma with silence and non-response, they'll remember Mateo's name. We're not going away. Not now, not ever. I'll be submitting a letter to each board member documenting legal failures and liability now facing the district, and kindly request a private meeting with the members of the board and the superintendent. Thank you. There's more. You know, as of 11:59 tonight, we're out of FERPA compliance. FERPA compliance comes with legal fees, settlement, liability, corrective action, mandated training, federal grant risk, admin burden, reputation damage. It is in our best interest. I have 2 special education children enrolled in this district. It is in our best interest for this to thrive and to work well. But we need to be able to speak and collaborate and get, at a minimum, an email response. Someone needs to call us back.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I saw your hand go up.
No, there's something flew by.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the budget? No? Okay. So, move on to action items. Does somebody want, oh, do you have a,
Hold on just a vote.
yep, that's what I'm doing. I move adoption of the 2025-2026 budget, adjustment for healthcare costs, $278,719, adjustment for banked cap, $250,000, authorized travel and related expense reimbursement for the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a second?
Second.
And discussion. Phyllis, did you have a comment? Did you have a comment?
Discussion. Did you?
Yes.
I think I have to say it. So here it comes. So hello, everyone. So last year, we approved a budget of around $16 million. The Secretary's report as of June 30, 2024.
Phyllis, microphone.
Can I go through this? Or
Yeah.
Just talk into your microphone, please. I think Aaron's coming. Hold on a second.
It's very loud.
Maybe just start over.
Here I am. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So last year, we approved a budget of around $16 million, and the Secretary's report as of June 2024 for last year said that we spent about $15 million. The report also said there was an available balance left over of approximately $1 million. For this year, we approved a budget of $17.25 million, about $1.25 million more than the year before. The The most recent Secretary's report projects we'll spend $15,240,892 June of 2025. The Secretary's report also projects there will be an available balance as of June of this year. This would be an increase of about $1 million more than last year. If we take the proposed budget of $18,567,068 and divide it by, I thought there were 674 students, it looks like we may be spending $27,250 per student of the projected $25,000, not the projected $25,000. As I look down from, I have to hover over, and I'm not supposed to get too much into the weeds, 30,000 feet we were told to look at this proposed budget. It just seems unreasonable to me, because from 2023, it's 18,000 per student, and now it's all the way up to 25,000, maybe 27,000 proposed. So those were just a few things that I was looking at, and I understand everything the parents need, what they want, but we once had, as, who was it? Molly. There she is. As she was saying, we always did have what we needed. I was always given what I needed in my classroom. I was also an LDT, Learning Disabilities Teacher Consultant. I understand what the parents go through in the special needs area. I do. My biggest concern, though, is maybe there is maybe too much appropriation that we don't know, or we did too much and we have this leftover stuff and we can use it, and maybe we could do something with that kind of money that's been budgeted. So that's what I have to say.
Any further discussion?
I'd have to remind you also, we did have budgets that went down, and our kids did well anyway, remember. Okay.
Go ahead, Mrs. Maddox.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of give you a little synopsis. I guess this is sitting on the other side of it, but also this is my personal view and how I perceive to vote tonight. So my family moved to Watchung about 8 years ago, and my boys went to Montessori school, pre-K through kindergarten. I have two older children that went to Melbourne Short Hills School, pre-K through high school. They're now 23 and 21 years old. You know, the decision when we were trying to decide where were we going to move was, are we going to move to Short Hills area, or were we going to move to Watchung? Those were the two final places that we were looking at. You know, looking at both places, we decided, okay, you know, we've found a home that we like here in Watchung. The community seems amazing. The schools sound great. You know, there's a lot of community, a lot of substance within the Watchung area. And so this is where we decided to move. You know, me, like every other parent in this community, wants the best for my children. And I think we all have the same goals. You know, I know the teachers have the same goals. Everybody on this board has the same goals. If I look around this room, I look at this table, I see that we all have vested interest in our schools and our community. You know, we all are either homeowners, we're students, we have students in elementary or middle school. We're all either taxpayers or educators. So we have some kind of interest in this room. I think that if I look around this room, I can honestly probably speak for all of us that nobody wants to pay taxes, more taxes. I mean, nobody's going to want to say, yes, I want to pay more taxes. But I can confidently say that we all want more academic excellence or better academic excellence. So a couple of things to think about. What are we doing all that we can? So are we investing in our children's education? Are we investing in our community? I think that we all can think, or, you know, if we think about this, my husband's an entrepreneur, and say, you can ask any entrepreneur, How do they become successful? And it's not by spending, just frivolously, but it's by investing for profit. And that's what an entrepreneur is, investing for profit. Some of the things to think about is that we want to continue to keep drawing people to our community. We want businesses to want to be here. We want our home values to increase. We want better resources for our children. We want better academics. And we want our local economy to thrive. So we have previously gone without increasing taxes or minimally increasing taxes, but at what cost? And we all know that inflation happens and not by choice. Unfortunately, we haven't kept up with inflation, and that's impacting resources in our schools. We can't run a successful school by cutting so many financial corners that we paralyze our abilities to function in today's world. Today's world is very different than yesterday's world. We didn't have screens when I was growing up, as like many of you when I'm looking around the room, we didn't have screens. AI is becoming more prevalent. Parents work more and less time in the home. Parents take their kids out of school more. There's longer vacations. Parents have less time to be involved in schools. There's more emphasis on testing these days than there was in the past, and I think that was mentioned earlier. I don't remember when I was going to school so much emphasis, and granted, it is important. We all want our kids to thrive. We all want our kids to succeed and excel, but I think that there's just so much emphasis, it's just gone overboard. Our kids now have shorter attention spans. We require more structured time and less play. And kids are taken out of school, sometimes for extracurricular activities, more and more. So just to summarize, I know one of the comments is, but academics are still low. Well, this is my final statement. We all share that passion for academic excellence. It is true that our scores were once higher, and it's something that we are actively working to improve. But the challenges that our students face today are more complex than they were in the past. Academics don't exist in a vacuum. Students need safe schools, qualified teachers, mental health support, and updated materials and facilities to succeed. We are asking for more funding. It's not because we aren't trying, it's because we are. It's because we know what our students need. We are committed to giving it to them. Investing in education is how we turn those scores around, not just with quick fixes, but with lasting solutions that give every student the chance to thrive.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? No? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mr. Kraft,
Yes, and thank you to the administration and the committee for all the hours you guys put into this. Great job.
Mrs. Aguilera,
Yes.
let's see, Mrs. Maddox,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mrs. Harvey.
Absent.
I'm sorry, she is absent. Mrs. Jewett.
Not at this time, no.
No. Okay, did I get it? And Mr. Frage.
Yes.
Okay, and the budget passes.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We are moving into... Okay, we are moving into our regular meeting now, so you're welcome to stay if you want to, but feel free to leave if you came for the budget. It's 9 o'clock.
Referendum update.
Okay.
For the referendum update.
We're moving on to presentations. We have a referendum update by Connor O'Brien with Legacy Construction Management.
Referendum update. You don't want to hear the referendum update?
Anybody need a 5-minute break?
Actually, do we want to take a 5-minute recess?
Yes.
Right. I move that we take a 5-minute recess.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're in recess for 5 minutes.
Let's see. Giants pick the
welcome back. We will continue on with our regular meeting agenda. So we're starting with the presentations. We're getting a referendum update from Connor O'Brien from Legacy Construction Management.
Good evening. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Connor O'Brien, as just introduced, with Legacy. I'll keep it quick since it's already been a long night for everybody here. And then if you have any questions, I'll answer anything you guys have. So regarding the couple projects that we had ongoing, the main one being the HVAC, we are very near the end of it. We did the chiller replacement over the spring break that you guys had. We have the startup next week, and we are in the process of the closeout documents. The process through the summer that was supposed to be done during the summer that we talked about, the delays of the equipment, we're just into the punch list of items. So believe it or not, even with the delays of the initial upfront, we should actually close out this project prior to the actual substantial completion contract date that's put in place, which was June 13th, 2025. So fingers crossed we actually hit that. I have a little over a month to accomplish that. So it's been a long road to get here, but with that being said, we are near the end with the HVAC portion of the project. The media center and the front office, which was done by, and the Bayberry toilet room upgrade, which was done by the project. We got some more items done through the punch list through the spring break. We do have one item up in the life skills room that we've been fighting with the contractor to take care of, which was floating of the floor. That is a item that we are scheduled for, was supposed to be over spring break. Contractor never showed up to actually do the work, even though it was communicated through several meetings. I don't know how many weeks that they confirmed it was going to be done. They just never showed up. We have over $200,000 holding for them to get paid by finishing this. Don't know what other motivation we need to put in place for them. It's a problem. So we have, I don't even know how many attempts more we can do. I don't know how much more motivation they need to do. I've spoken to the owner of the company personally to express the concern, how it's impacting the school, how it's impacting the kids, just that little piece. I'm out of options. I will hope that they finish, as they said, next week and be done with this, because it's been exhausting. Dr. Glazer has been on the calls. The BA, Karen Bishop, is on the calls. Ricky's on the calls. I don't know how to express any more than it's been a frustrating process to even get this little piece done with this contractor. With that being said, those are the two portions of the projects that we had ongoing. We do have another project that is out to bid currently with the outdoor learning commons and the field, multi-purpose fields. We did have to extend that bid opening to May 13th due to just documentation that we needed to make sure was upgraded to ensure a proper bid that you guys can receive and review to make sure you guys have all those options put in place based on that project. So as discussed and presented during the public presentation that the architect was here with, we showed the boards, we showed all the possibilities of the alternates. We just had to make some adjustments during the bid process to make sure you guys have all those options to be able to make that decision. I have met with Karen Bishop Johnson to go over the budget, which is obviously we're at the end of this referendum. We need to ensure that the money's there to be able to do the project. That's why we utilize the alternates, to be able to make sure we can get as much done within the budget. So we do have probably another meeting or two probably to get to just ensure that prior to May 13th. I would say we're pretty close to being pretty darn comfortable with being able to award with everything that we need to get done. So we did get some feedback for some pricing from some co-ops, so we feel pretty comfortable to be able to deliver what you guys expect. Again, just want to keep it short and sweet. I know it's a long night for anybody, so that's all I have for this update. If there's any questions, I'll answer away.
All right, thank you, Connor.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Connor.
I'll take it.
Thanks for hanging in there all night.
No problem. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too.
All right, so moving on, we do not have an executive session tonight, so we can move on to superintendent remarks.
I'm writing on the back of them. And we did return enrollment to the agenda, you can see that we are currently 2 students less this year than last year, so on the same date. I do not have a superintendent's report this evening, but it is my pleasure to read the principal's report. In February, Valley View students, sorry, I wrote on it, I apologize, Pranav Agarwal and Omesh. I'm so sorry, my blue marker went right through it, Omesh, but we know you from strategic planning, thank you. And Layla Costello, Evelyn Ding, and Ariana Patel participated in the Math League on Demand math contest. Their outstanding performance qualified them for the state championships held on March 30th. The Math League competition spans grades 4 through high school, fosters quick computational thinking and problem-solving skills. It aims to enhance student interest and confidence in mathematics through engaging activities. A heartfelt thank you to Mrs. Nima Patel for her dedication in hosting and chaperoning the students, to our school resource officer, Mike Dolinsky, firefighter Dimitri Gukman, and retired public works manager Bob Burns for facilitating the use of facilities on a Sunday evening. Congratulations to Pranav, Omesh, Layla, Evelyn, and Ariana on their achievements. Other notable events include Spring Picture Day, successfully held on April 2nd at Valley View and April 22nd and 23rd at Bayberry. This is Autism Acceptance Month. We've been commemorating with Spirit Days and lessons at Valley View during Mountaineer Mondays. Bayberry has been celebrating by creating school-wide bulletin boards, marching in a parade, holding homemade infinity signs, among many other things. Portuga Coffee House will start using coffee sleeves made by Valley View students May 1st. Get your coffee sleeve at Portuga. The Valley View Book Fair was held the week of April 7th, a great success thanks to the invaluable support of parents and volunteers. The annual Day of Giving was a remarkable event where students engaged in activities to give back to the community. The activities included creating kindness rocks for the Watchung Police Department, crafting positive messages on bracelets, making dream catchers for local assisted living facilities, preparing flower pots for a Warren Cemetery and assisted living facility, knitting hats for the homeless shelter in Somerville, and crafting lanyard keychains as welcome gifts for our rising 4th graders to middle school. I sincerely appreciate all staff and students who organized these activities, and of course the PTO for generously funding the materials that made this day possible. A reminder that marking period number 3 did conclude on April 9th here at Valley View. Today, here at Bayberry and Valley View, we celebrated Bring Your Child to Work, providing a glimpse of life at the schools for our staff's children. The week of March 17th, our 2nd graders put on a project-based learning showcase for 3rd and 4th graders, and the 2nd grade students shared what they learned about their chosen animal, explained how they created a habitat enclosure to meet the animal's needs. Their research skills and speaking skills are so impressive. We did our staff in service on March 31st. Staff worked with a variety of professional development topics and curriculum projects. Our 4th grade performed their play Thwacked on April 3rd, doing an amazing job singing, acting, and making us laugh. Thank you always, Mrs. Riley, for your hard work and dedication. We are missing you tonight while the 3rd and 4th grade Glee Club is performing at the Somerset Patriots game. And just a shout out that at the May 22nd board meeting, the Glee Club and Mrs. Riley will be here at the board meeting to kick us off. Oh, yes, sorry. It's further down in administration. That's fine. We also have a retirement to celebrate. We did invite Lois to come, but I'm almost glad she didn't. She has an earlier morning than all of us. So After 25 years, our beloved bus driver, Lois Volmer, has decided to retire. She was trying to hold out to graduate, that's the word she used, with her students, and unfortunately, life sometimes gets in the way, and she will not be able to continue with us past June 30th. We will be obviously celebrating her retirement with a, little fun stuff for her, and a proclamation recognizing her many years in the district, her commitment to our students over the years, and honestly to their families as well. And we'll miss her.
And the BA's report.
So you'll see on the agenda tonight in the personnel section that we are hoping to have approved our new payroll position, which is very exciting for the business office because we've been without one for a few weeks. So we're really happy about that. And other than that, this is the time of year where the business office starts to review for the getting ready for the end of the year.
Open enrollment. Open enrollment.
An open enrollment, yep. For the end of the year, we're looking at purchase orders, we're checking encumbrances, this is about the time when you start to think about, is there anything coming that we're not ready for, or is there something that didn't occur? Like for one, utilities, as I mentioned, we, decided this week that we needed an additional like $30,000 onto that purchase order, just because our electricity has been, it's just crazy right now. So that's what we're doing right now. And we are in an open enrollment time period. Our healthcare is time to, you re-up it every year, July 1 for everybody. And that process has just started too. So this is when staff can sign up or make their changes, anything that they need. That's it for our office of 2. Hopefully soon to be 3.
Thank you very much. Moving on to committee reports. Mrs. Maddox, do you have the report for the curriculum committee?
Okay, we met Wednesday, April 8th, from 4 to 5:40, and this was a virtual meeting. Attendance was Dr. Glazier from 4 to 5:40 p.m. Karen Bishop Johnson, business administrator, she was absent. Jennifer Aguilario, did I say that right?
No, it's okay.
I don't know how many times I've tried to practice that one. Anyhow.
I needed a phonics card. I'll share it with you.
You really do.
I learned it, but I needed a phonics card.
Did I say the time you were there from 4 to 5:40? See, that's what happens whenever I'm the one who has to do this. Dory Harvey was there from 4 to 5:40. Fatima Santos was from there from 4 to 5:40. Myself was there from 4 to 5:40. Principal Fickner was there from 4 to 4:30. And Principal Kidd was there from 4 to 5:13. And Nicole Detoda, did I say that right?
Correct.
Was absent. Okay. Well, that was a tongue twister. So the new business was, there was a Teacher of the Year County Awards on May 7th. Committee was informed. Did you already say that? No.
I mean, over time, but not tonight.
I'm like, I don't have to repeat that. The committee was informed that Principal Fickner and Special Services Director Nicole Detoda will attend the Teacher of the Year County Award ceremony with our staff. Congratulations again to our honorees, Valley View Special Education Teacher, I'm going to mess this up, Caitlin Vasily, and Bayberry Professional Support Person.
Shilpa? Is it Shilpa?
Yeah. Darn. And I'm sorry I'm butchering these names. So the second portion was Bayberry Art Show was May 7th. The Glee Club, the committee was informed of the upcoming event. District Science Fair, I think you had mentioned this, but I'll just review it anyways. June 2nd, the committee was told that it would be at Valley View.
And that is for the whole district, the science fair. It's Bayberry and Valley View here at Valley View.
So follow-up is March 31st, 2025. Principal Kidd reviewed what the teachers could explore and work on during the professional development. Reported that that all went well. Parent meeting, Hib, just joking, is still determining dates for this, and it will be scheduled sometime after April 29th. Do I need to review the referendum?
No.
We kind of pretty much did that. The strategic plan during meeting number 3, some goals were created with objectives that can be developed for the strategic plan. I think you kind of pretty much already reviewed that earlier. Curriculum update, resources, adoption timeline. Valley View teachers selected the math program, and when the new budget opens, resources will be ordered and professional development will be scheduled before the school starts in September. And potential board agenda items pursuant of excellent summer staffing. All the hires will be on the agenda. Valley View focuses on inviting students who are struggling or potentially failing classes. And then ESY summer staffing. All the hires will be on the agenda. 2025 through 2026 budget approval. No new information. PTO donations. The PTO will have items on the agenda for the board to consider approving. And that was it.
Thank you. Mr. Frage, can you give the report for the Administration Finance Committee, please?
Sure. We met on April 10th at 5 p.m. and it was in person, except for myself. I was virtual. The committee members there were myself, Manuel, Adam, and Ben. As for the administration, we had Dr. Glazer and Karen Bishop Johnson, and for the guests, we had Ricky Boyd. Honestly, there isn't too much to discuss because we kind of went through every single thing before this. We discussed the referendum projects update. We discussed the strategic plan. We discussed the final budget. We did discuss the snow days and calendar, which is on the agenda for tonight, but it is going to be changed, I believe.
Yes.
We discussed the May 8th board meeting, which we are moving to 5 p.m. So that we can accept an award from NJSBA at the Votech School. We discussed a candidate for the business office position. We discussed the memorandum of agreement for the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, which is used for FEMA, for natural disasters and stuff like that. We also discussed the health insurance, which Karen already went over. And then we have the general agenda items, including professional development, pay applications, change orders, payments of bills, the retiree. And then that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Mrs. Amadeo, can you have the report for the Policy Committee, please?
Yep, Policy Committee met virtually on Wednesday, April 9th from 5:30 to 7:08 p.m. In attendance were myself, Phyllis Jewett, Adam Kraft, Board President Jen Agliero, and Administration Dr. Glazer and Pinky Nielsen. Transportation, we discussed combining two policies together, the NJSBA Policy 3541.1 with the Watchung Borough and Watchung Hills approved policies, 8600. Dr. Glazer is going to offer a version of this combined policy for review before next month. And I will write up a first draft of an informal guideline document for transportation coordinators going forward, outlining which streets require additional safety measures and what those measures should ideally be, in our opinion. Dr. Glazer also provided a bus waiver update as well. It seems like this was a successful program that we should continue. Bylaw 0167, public participation in board meetings. The committee agreed to the policy updates and moved it to a first reading. We then discussed the wording of the public comment statement, which we would like to update. This wording can be changed without a board vote, so I would like to ask the board, since we're not voting on it directly, to please take a look at the first reading regulation folder for this month. The new wording suggestions are in there, and you can send me any feedback before we make this final change before next month. Up for a second reading, bylaw 0164, governing the board meeting agenda order, which officially puts the public comments before executive session. We received no comments on that, and it's approved for a second reading. Policy 8601, student supervision after school dismissal, and the associated documentation. The legal language was received from the lawyer for a designated escort waiver. All pickup programs will be updated to match the language, and student handbooks will be updated over the summer. We also discussed some parent challenges working with 3 different programs that govern parent pickup situations. Policy and Regulation 2440, summer programs. As explained last month, the current available policy that covers this topic is geared towards high schools and needs to be updated for our use case. Summer school will be provided to students in danger of failing. As other committees mentioned, this policy has been moved to a first reading. Policy 2365, acceptable use of generative artificial intelligence, and Policy 5701, academic integrity. All AI programs require a minimum age requirement of 13 years, according to our IT gentleman. No suitable programs were found for our student community at this time. Given that information, these policies will be reviewed next month with the appropriate updates and move forward for a first reading. We also discussed dog walking ordinances per a board request. Dr. Glazer met with Jim D'Amato on this topic, and while the school could potentially do something about this, call the police if neighbors are leaving pet feces on grounds, she felt this was not the battle we want to pick right now, and we just would like to ask you, please curb your dogs, please curb your pets.
Please pick up the poop.
That's kind of what we're saying.
Please.
That's what we're saying.
Policies for review, Regulation 2419, school threat assessment teams, and Regulation 8420.1, active shooter. This regulation is up to date, except that it's missing language about implementing Raptor, which is a new program for us. That will be added and moved to a first reading for April's board meeting.
I was going to say it's there.
Oh, it is here, sorry. Old language, yep. That is moved for a first reading. Regulation 2425, emergency virtual or remote instruction program. Dr. Glazer will review this against the current policy for next month, for the May board meeting. And that's everything, I think.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have a committee report for negotiations?
I do. We met on April 8th with the union and are meeting again on May 1st.
Thank you. Moving on to board liaison reports. Is there a report from the legislative liaison?
Yes, quick one, thankfully. There was a new law that was passed on Monday, March 31st regarding sunscreen policies. It requires school districts to adopt policies concerning student use of sunscreen and sun protective clothing at school and school-sponsored functions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Work on that, I guess.
Blurb to share on that? I'm just curious on what they said.
You
You don't have to do it now, just like you could email.
I mean, it's pretty short, I could read it out.
I was going to say, she looks so excited.
Pretty short, so I could read it out. The policy shall now require a student to provide documentation from a physician or other licensed healthcare professional. As amended, the policy may require written permission from a student, parent, or guardian, but may not require school personnel to assist a student in applying sunscreen. That was all that was written about it.
Is there a report from Somerset County Educational Services?
It was actually a very, very short, one of the shortest meetings I've ever attended. But we did have the opportunity to go to their workshop, and which was actually quite impressive. The workshop was building materials and all the supplies that they utilize in order to build walls or rooms or homes or whatever. And these students were actually in charge of building whatever their assignment was, but they had several examples in the workshop, and they took us through the workshop and showed us some of the things that the students had been working on, which was very impressive, so cool. So, you know, these are some of the tools that they're going to utilize in order to be successful adults once they go out into society, and, you know, they're setting them up for success, and it was pretty impressive. Next time we have another meeting, we're going to go into their automotive area where they teach children how to do auto repairs, oil changes, and they were saying, you know, if you have a vehicle that you need an oil change, you can just fill out a form, and the students will actually, they'll do some oil changes for you. So, you know, these are just some really impressive things that the school is doing. That was it.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Amadeo, do you have a report from Somerset County School Boards Association?
I do not.
Okay.
Next month, I will.
Okay, so moving on to School Boards Association, that's me. I hope everybody saw in the board packet that we have received the official notification of achieving board certification with the New Jersey School Boards Association. We will be honored at the county meeting on May 8th at 6 p.m. It's being held in Bridgewater at the VOTEC School. I hope everyone can attend, but if you wish to come, please ensure that you register for the meeting. They feed you, so you have to register. The plaque honoring us for achieving certification will also be presented to us at our June 19th Board of Ed meeting. Can't make it, we'll be here June 19th. And then it's me again, Regionalization Committee update. The committee met on March 24th at 6 p.m. virtually. We were provided with an update on where they are regarding data collection for all the sending districts and the high school. There was also a town hall on the shared services and regionalization study at the high school on April 10th. It was well attended with lots of good questions, and if anybody wants to watch it, a video recording of the meeting can be found on the high school's website. I believe it's actually on the home page.
Yeah. We get it? If we got it, we'll put it up too.
Okay, so, and maybe it will be up on ours.
Looking.
MUJC, Dr. Glazer, do you have an update?
Our meeting is May 8th.
Okay. Moving on to community engagement. Is there any update from CPEG? Nope. And there's nobody here from PTO or WEF, I don't believe.
PTO on the agenda. Lots of Valley View donations.
Right, all the donations from the PTO are on the agenda tonight. Thank you very much for all of those. Okay, so we're moving on to comments from the public on agenda items. We welcome input from the public. There are 2 times during the meeting when the public's invited to speak. The first opportunity is now on agenda items only. Public forums are not structured as a question and answer session, but rather are offered as opportunities to share input with the board. In instances where the board feels a response is needed, the presiding officer or superintendent will address the comment. New Jersey statutes do not permit the board to discuss personnel or hiring in public session. Names of students should not be used. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of legal rights of those affected and identified in their comments, and be aware that they are personally legally responsible with potential liability for comments that they make to the board. The board shall not be held liable for comments made by members of the public. No takers? All right. Moving on then to action items. So before we start, I just want to address under action items under administrative, item number 2, approve revised 2024 and 2024 to 2025 and 2025 to 2026 district academic calendars, which are in attachments 2 and 3. This item's on the agenda because we have 2 extra snow days that we didn't use this year that we need to give back. And the thought was that we were going to put them back over Memorial Day, to extend Memorial Day weekend, that we were going to take the Friday before and then the Tuesday after. However, after receiving some feedback from the schools, It caused some instructional hardships. We've decided to just keep the Friday, which is May 23rd, and then they'll use the last day of school, which is June 28th. So I would like to move that,
June 28th.
or sorry, June 18th. It's late.
I know, I was like, June 28th.
Thank you for correcting me. I would like to move that we amend item A, Administrative 2, approve revised 2024, 2025, and 2025, 2026 district academic calendars to indicate that in the 2024, 2025 year, the days off that we are adding are May 23rd and June 18th.
The last day.
Last day will be June 17th. So we're giving June 18th off.
It already is. We had 3 snow days. We've used, is that correct? Am I not correct? I know I was,
So I have
you know, I
pulled
sent
up.
an email. Well, I'll have to look now.
The tentative last day of school on our calendar is listed as June 18th.
With this change.
On our actual,
On our actual calendar.
On the
So
calendar that's an attachment
The last day will
to.
be, if you have 2 days, the last day will be the 17th if
Yes.
you're using May 23rd.
yes, correct. So June 18th will be off.
Yes.
Yes, that's, so I move that we amend the calendar for 2024, 2025 to indicate that the snow days we're giving back will occur on May 23rd and June 18th. So those 2 days will be off.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
This is a motion to change what we're voting on, or is this the vote on the thing?
This is a vote to change it to reflect May
Change the
23rd,
item.
to change the
Then
item.
we vote on it as.
And we'll vote on it.
Okay.
This is just a vote on the change.
Great. Seconded? Mo did.
Roll call. You ready?
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mr. Kraft,
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos. Yes. Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mrs. Aguilera.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So now, I'll move administrative items. 1, approve minutes of previous meeting. 2, amended, approve revised calendars. And 3, accept Bayberry and Valley View School District school security drill reports.
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to know what we do to make sure everybody knows about these calendar
So
changes.
Tomorrow, it's already, Pinky's already got it, is everybody, right? Staff and parent email that goes tomorrow.
Okay. More than one email, maybe?
Oh, no,
All your
absolutely.
friends.
But again, we have lots of
Yeah.
school communications, but the big one is tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett,
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox,
Yes.
Mrs. Santos,
Yes.
Mr. Frage,
Yes.
Mr. Kraft,
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo,
Yes.
Mrs. Aguilera.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, good.
Maybe you could ask the PTO president to also send one out or post it on their Facebook pages.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No, I think we just moved away from their suggestion.
Mrs. Jewett, do you mind moving the items under personnel for us?
Personnel approve appointments? Okay. Let's see. Here's one. Approve appointment of, oh boy. Do I have to say the names? Shadon?
No.
I don't know.
No.
All right. For the board office. And approve the appointment of, oh my goodness. Number 2.
It's a substitute bus driver.
You need my cheaters?
Substitute bus driver. Okay. there it
Unless you want my cheaters?
And number 3, approve the retirement. Resolve that the Board of Ed, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves Mary Lois Bulmer's retirement effective of June 30th, 2024. And number 4, approve revised leaves of absence. We have a very teacher revision. What is all these? Okay, resolve that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the following revised leaves of absence: 4041, 5004, 4045. Number 5, appoint Summer Pursuit of Excellence program staff. Valley View, we have Carissa Stanzak. Valley View, we have Christopher Mell. At Valley View, we also have Kevin O'Connell. We have Mackenzie Faugman, Carissa Stanzak at Valley View for teacher, Caroline Starr, and Caitlin Basile. Is there more?
There's one more.
One more. Okay, 6. Approve extracurricular positions. Is that Leslie Kirk Leslie, Christopher Mell, Lauren Miller,
Second.
placing Carissa Stanzak.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, no discussion. Roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
And Mrs. Agliaro?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Mr. Frage, can you move the items under Operations Finance, please?
Sure. I move Operations Finance 1, approve payment of bills. 2, approve transfer of funds 2024, 2025. 3, accept financial reports. 4, approve professional service provider. 5, approve payment application for Bayberry and Valley View HVAC upgrades. 6, approve change order for Bayberry and Valley View HVAC upgrades. 7, approve change order for toilet room renovations at Bayberry Elementary School. 8, approve change order for educational alterations at Valley View Middle School. 9, approve SCESC transportation agreement. Number 10, approve professional development / school business and related expenses. Number 11, accept donation for teacher appreciation luncheon. Number 12, accept donation of care packages and treats. Number 13, accept donation of the end of year luau. 14, accept donation of Valley View front benches. 15, accept donation of Valley View Student Council spring dance. 16, accept donation of Valley View staff appreciation gifts. 17, accept donation of locks for Valley View lockers. 18, accept donation of Valley View field day supplies. And 19, accept Valley View field trip contributions.
Second. Any discussion?
Thank you for the very many donations.
Yes.
I was going to say,
thank
this
you,
is
PTO.
impressive, holy cow.
Is that like $30,000?
And that's just Valley View. Bayberry's will be on the next.
Wow.
That's why I said we
Uh,
have to call that out. It's amazing.
This was about $30,000 that we don't have in our budget, that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do.
Exactly.
And these are all wonderful things that the children and the staff will get to experience. So not to harp on it, because I'm very happy that the budget passed, but we're obviously being fiscally responsible by putting in only things that, I don't know how you want to put it, I don't want to get in trouble by saying what things we need or what, but it's nice that we're able to do these things. Yes, more strategic things. But it's nice that we're able to do these things because it's not just always about the academics.
Yes. Absolutely. Roll call?
Just imagine what our taxes would have gone up if we didn't get these donations.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
And Mrs. Agliaro?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Santos, could you move the item under curriculum?
Or approve additional field trip location for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call when you're ready. Mrs. Bishop Johnson, got it.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mrs. Jewett?
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Frage?
Yes.
Mrs. Agliaro?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Excuse me. Mrs. Amadeo, could you move the items under policy, please?
Yes, I would like to move for a first reading, bylaw 0167, public participation in board meetings, policy regulation 2440, summer sessions, regulation 5410, promotion and retention, regulation 2419, school threat assessment teams, and I would like to move for a second reading, B, bylaw 0164, conduct of board meetings.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call, please. You're ready.
Yep, okay. Mr. Fraiche?
Yes.
Mrs. Duet?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mrs. Amadeo?
Yes.
Mrs. Santos?
Yes.
Mrs. Maddox?
Yes.
Mrs. Aguilera?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to board business. Does anybody have any? Okay, moving on to final comments from the public. No? All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, 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 yeah.